Hi everyone, I am Francesco, the designer of the game.
And I'm Roberta. Welcome to this board game presentation for Incubo, a cooperative game for 2 players.
Incubo is a truly unique board game that blends deck building mechanics with cooperative gameplay.
You'll work together to build a stronger deck facing off various monsters throughout the game.
Tommy and his loyal cat friends, Alpha and Nina, love spending time together playing games.
But one day, a new cat, Lana, joins the fun, turning their day upside down with her playful energy.
That night, the 4 friends have a nightmare. Nina has been kidnapped.
Tommy and Alpha set out on a daring adventure to save her, and of course, Lana decides to follow.
Join Tommy, Alpha and Lana on their thrilling quest to rescue Nina.
Experience the excitement, strategy and cooperation of Incubo.
We can't wait for you to try Incubo and enjoy this adventure.
Let's see what is waiting for you.
In Incubo, there are many different types of cards, all with the same back. Each card is identified by the symbol in the bottom right corner. This is the symbol for the fear cards. This is the one for the monsters card, this one for the dream cards, and this indicates the starting cards deck. Then there are chime cards, recognizable by the half moon on them, and 2 bedside table cards.
First off, each player takes their bedside table card on which there is an indication of where to lay the fear and courage decks. The latter is constituted by all the cards that end up in each player's hand of cards during the game, thus fear, dream, monster and chime cards.
So all the fear cards of each player will share the same symbol, and they will be left on the left of the bedside card, then on the starting cards, laying them on the right of the bedside. And at the beginning of the game, they too will all share the same symbol.
All the chime cards will form a separate deck next to the chime tokens.
The dream cards have 2 sides, one for Alpha, the cat, and one for Tommy, the kid. To set up the game, they are divided in 3 decks, representing the 3 game phases.
The first deck consists of 6 cards, the second of 12, and the last of 6.
Finally, there are monsters cards, whose symbol depicts 1 tentacle for phase 1, 2 for the second phase, and 3 for the third phase. Each monster's deck is laid over the corresponding phase deck. Each player has 3 dice and the 3 cards counter.
The bed is positioned at the center of the table. The game is articulated into 3 phases called RAM phases. Each phase is further articulated into 2 subphases, the Dream subphase and the Monster subphase. Once finished with the RAM 1 Dream cards, you must fight the phase 1 monster. Once defeated, you pass to the second phase Dream cards and then Monster cards. Finally, if you get to the third phase and defeat all the Dream cards of the final monster, you have won. You have succeeded in rescuing Nina and she can finally get back home safe. How do you lose the game? You begin with 50 chime tokens, and if at any point in the game you run out of those, you immediately lose the game.
You begin the game by flipping the first dream card of the phase 1. Each dream card has 2 sides, the orange side for Alpha the cat and the blue is for Tommy the kid. Each side depicts 3 ships with values on them. Since we are in phase 1, we look at the value at the first ship. The card also shows the number of free cards available to face it.
Each player puts their free cards tracker on the corresponding number of the free cards track, in this case 1 for Alpha the cat and 2 for Tommy the kid. Then you roll the first type of dice as we are in phase 1, a d4 in this case. The result must be added to the value depicted on the first ship to assess the total strength of the dream card each player has to face. In this case, we both rolled a 1. At this point, players decide who starts to play cards. In this case, we chose Tommy.
The drawn card has a strength of -1.
Each card can be played either in the central row, indicating that once the dream has been faced or that you have surrendered, it will go back to its owner's discard pile, in the upper left corner to indicate that it will be put into the other player's discard pile, or in the bottom left corner, which means that it will be taken out of the game.
Since this card is -1 for Tommy, but is convenient for Alpha, as it is a 1, Tommy plays it in the upper left row and then moves their free card tracker down to 1 on their tracker, to indicate that the first free card has been already played.
Now Alpha draws its first card. It has a strength of 2 and Alpha decides to keep it, thus playing it on the central row, and moves its free cards tracker to indicate it has already played its only free card available for this dream.
Since the required strength value was 1, having a card with strength 2 advances a 1, which can be used by Tommy. At this point, he has to face a strength of 1. The second card he draws is a 0, but it is convenient for Alpha. Since Tommy has already put a card into the upper left corner to pass it to Alpha, he has to spend a chime token to add the second one. At this point, Tommy has used his 2 free cards. He has to play another card since he still hasn't reached the required strength. To do so, he has to spend a chime token. Since he drew a strength 1 card, the dream is defeated.
At this point, Alpha takes the cards that Tommy has passed over in its discard pile, together with the card it had played in the central row. Tommy puts the card he had played in the central row into his discard pile. Finally, the defeated dream card goes to the player indicated by the row on the bad board, in this case Alpha. It goes into its discard pile. At this point, each player takes back their free cards tracker and their dice, and the bad board is tilted, with the arrow pointing towards the other player, in this case Tommy.
A new dream card is drawn. The free cards tracker are put on the corresponding tracks and the dice are drawn. In this case, both players have to face a strength of 1.
We decide this time Alpha is the first to play. It draws its first and only free card, and it already manages to face the required strength of its side of the dream card. Now Tommy draws his card. It is a -1, and he decides to play it in the upper left corner to pass it on to Alpha. His second and last free card is a 0, and he plays it in the upper left row, again paying 1 chime token. Since he still has not met the required strength, he has to pay 1 chime token to play another card.
He still has to face a 1, so he draws another card, paying another chime token. It is a 0 and he decides to play it in the bottom left row. He pays yet another chime token to play another card, another 0. Again, another chime token must be spent for him to draw another card. It is a -2. He decides to play it in the elimination row. Paying 1 chime token, since he had already played another card there. This card, however, gives him a free card to draw.
He tilts it to indicate he has used its special power and draws another card.
Ouch! Another -1. He plays it in the central row. Alpha and Tommy decide to surrender. Now the total terror is scored by counting all the remaining strength which has not been faced by the player. In our case, it's a 4. Thus, we lose 4 chime tokens, of which 2 are placed in the fear reserve.
Now these cards are eliminated from the game. Each player takes back into their discard pile the cards played in their central rows, and Alpha also gets the 2 cards Tommy has passed on. The undefeated dream card goes to the third phase dream deck. Each player takes back their tracker and dice. The game continues like this until all the dream cards of phase 1 have been faced.
At this point, players have to face the phase 1 monster. Now we show you how to combat the monster, pretending we have finished facing all the dream cards of the phase 1. Each monster is composed of a head, which must be put on the bed board, and 2 arms on each side. thus 2 facing Alpha and 2 facing Tommy. The head card shows how many parts of the monster must be defeated to win. In this case, 3 out of 5. It also reports the strength to face common to both players. Alpha and Tommy roll the dice and add the score to the total final strength. The monster's head card also shows how many free cards each player has. In this case, we both have 5 free cards. Before playing a card, each player must indicate which part of the monster they want to confront. In this case, we decide to play against one of the arms on Alpha's side, which has a strength of 3.
Tommy draws a 0. In this case, there is no elimination or swap row. All the used cards will eventually end up in the owner's discard pile. Tommy moves down in his free cards tracker and we decide that it's Alpha's turn to draw a card. Alpha keeps facing the same arm card. He moves down its free card tracker and draws a 1. Now Tommy draws a -1, but the card gives him a free card, so he only moves the free cards tracker down 1 spot. Alpha faces the same card again. After moving down the score tracker, it draws a 0. Tommy decides to draw another free card on the same arm. A 2, so the remaining strength to face is 1. Alpha decides to continue playing a free card on the same arm. It's a 1, thus the monster's arm is defeated, so we flip the card to indicate it.
Since the monster requires 3 out of 5 cards to be destroyed to win, we must continue facing 2 other monster cards. We decide Tommy starts facing one of the monster's arms on his side. He draws a 0.
Alpha confronts the same monster's part. It draws a 2, so the arm is destroyed and the card is flipped.
We have one last monster part to face to destroy it. We decide to confront the second arm on Alpha's side. Tommy draws a 1. It was his last free card.
Alpha plays its last free card on the same arm. It's a 1, so the arm is destroyed and the card is flipped. The phase 1 monster has been defeated. Yay! Now each player takes the used cards back into their respective discard piles. The defeated monster parts go to the player's discard pile on the corresponding side. In this case, Alpha gets the 2 arms on its side and Tommy the defeated arm on his side.
Since the monster's head hasn't been defeated, both players take a fear card in their discard pile.
Tommy draws another fear card to put in his discard pile for the undefeated arm on his side.
During the game, when a player's drawing courage deck is over, they have to shuffle the discard pile to create a new courage deck. The new deck is most certainly stronger than the previous, but you might add the fear cards to it. If a player flips a fear card, the only way to eliminate it from the game is to spend chime tokens from the fear reserve. You must spend 2 chime tokens to eliminate 1 fear card. The player immediately plays another courage card and the other player gets a chime card in the discard pile. When they draw it, you immediately get back 2 chime tokens in the chime reserve.
The game proceeds with the phase 2 dreams, then the phase 2 monster. Finally, you proceed to phase 3. If you get to destroy the phase 3 monster, you have won the game and you successfully rescued Nina. And that's how you play Incubo. Thanks for watching.